It was a golden evening in Dubai. The desert breeze carried a soft warmth as the sun slowly dipped behind the dunes. Inside a lavish glass tent decorated with white roses and golden lights, Mira Santos, a 27-year-old Filipina nurse, was about to marry Adil Khan, a Pakistani businessman she met 3 years ago at a hospital where she worked. Everything looked perfect: the music, the laughter, the scent of jasmine, and the happiness glowing on Mira's face. Her family had flown in from Manila, and Adil's business friends from Karachi and Abu Dhabi filled the front rows. Cameras flashed as the bride walked in wearing a diamond-studded white gown that shimmered like morning dew. But outside the tent, someone else was watching. Hidden behind the parking line of SUVs, a man stood silently, gripping a small black backpack. His eyes burned with anger and heartbreak. It was Rico de Guzman, Mira's ex-boyfriend, the man she once promised forever to, before moving to Dubai for a better life. Rico had tracked her social media for months. When he saw her engagement photos, something in him broke. He sold his phone, quit his job in Sharjah, and spent every penny finding her wedding location. Tonight, he had come not as a guest, but as a ghost from her past. Inside, the ceremony began. Adil gently placed the ring on Mira's finger. Cheers echoed. Then, a sudden sound, a thud from outside, made one of the guards turn. Before he could react, Rico entered the tent, his face covered, his eyes red. The music stopped. People froze. "Mira," he whispered, trembling, "you promised me." "Forever." The hall went silent. Mira's face turned pale as she stepped back, realizing the nightmare she thought she'd left behind had just walked into her. The wedding hall turned into chaos the moment Rico stepped inside. Guests screamed, some rushed toward the exit, and others froze in disbelief. Adil quickly moved in front of Mira, shielding her behind him. "Who are you?" Adil demanded, though deep down, he already knew. The name Rico had appeared once in Mira's past, a quiet story she never wanted to tell in full. Rico's voice cracked. "You stole her from me. She was mine before she even met you." He dropped the backpack to the ground, and for a second, everyone thought it was a bomb. Security guards hesitated, unsure whether to approach. Mira's tears began to fall. "Rico, please. Stop, it's over. You need help." Her voice trembled, but there was still compassion in her tone, the same kindness that had once made Rico fall in love with her. But Rico wasn't here for forgiveness. He reached inside his jacket and pulled out a small silver blade. Gasps echoed through the hall. "Do you remember, Mira? You said we'd get married in the church in Manila. You said forever." Adil moved closer, his hands raised. "Listen, you don't want to do this. We can talk. Just let her go." But Rico's eyes were gone, replaced by something wild, something broken. He looked around the room, his chest heaving. Then he said something no one expected. "If I can't have her, no one will." In a sudden blur, he ran toward the side exit, and Mira screamed. Adil tried to chase, but Rico had already disappeared into the dark dunes beyond the wedding lights. The security team followed, their flashlights cutting through the sandstorm that had begun to rise. Hours later, police arrived, surrounding the area. Mira sat trembling, covered in a blanket, while Adil held her hand. "He won't come back," he whispered, though his voice lacked certainty. By midnight, the Dubai police had spread across the desert with drones and heat scanners. The once beautiful dunes now looked like a battlefield, flashing lights, search dogs, and worried guests stranded at the edge of the sand. Mira sat inside a police van, her wedding dress torn and stained with dust. Her hands trembled as she replayed the moment Rico's eyes met hers. The officer beside her spoke calmly. "Ma'am, we'll find him. The desert is wide, but there's nowhere to hide for long." Adil refused to leave the scene. He stood outside with clenched fists, talking to detectives. He's obsessed with her. He'll come back, I know it. Meanwhile, miles away, Rico wandered barefoot through the cold sand, his mind a storm of voices. He kept murmuring Myra's name, half in love, half in rage. The desert wind howled like ghosts, answering him by dawn. The search teams found signs, footprints, the torn strap of a backpack, and near it, an old photo of Myra smiling beside him back in Manila. The officers exchanged grim looks. He's not running away, one said quietly. He's waiting. That evening, as the sun sank once more behind the dunes, Adil's car was found, abandoned along the highway near Ale, Kudra. The driver's door hung open, and blood marks led away into the sand. Panic spread quickly among the police. Myra! An officer called, rushing to her tent. But she was gone. Her veil, still soaked in tears, lay on the floor beside her phone. The last message on the screen was from an unknown number. You said forever. Come to the place where we first met, or he dies. Fear froze her heart. It was Rico. He had taken Adil, and now he was calling her into the desert, alone. The desert night was silent again, the kind of silence that hides screams. Myra drove alone through the dunes, her headlights slicing through the darkness. Her phone battery was dying, and the GPS had lost signal long ago. Still, she followed her heart, praying Adil was alive. At last she saw a faint light flickering ahead, a small campfire near an abandoned construction site. Her heart pounded as she stepped out of the car, the cold sand biting her bare feet. Rico! She shouted. Her voice echoed across the dunes. A shadow moved near the fire. Rico stood there, holding a knife in one hand and gripping Adil's arm with the other. Adil was weak, his shirt torn, his face bruised. Rico smiled, a chilling, broken smile. You came. I knew you would. Myra's eyes filled with tears. Please let him go. This isn't you, Rico. He laughed bitterly. Not me, you made me this. You left me like I was nothing. Myra stepped closer, her trembling hands raised. I didn't leave to hurt you. I left to survive. You were destroying yourself, and I couldn't save you. For a moment, Rico's eyes softened, then turned cold again. Then die with him, he whispered. Whispery, he pushed Adil to the ground and lunged forward, the knife flashing under the moonlight. Myra screamed, grabbing a handful of sand and throwing it into his eyes. Rico staggered back, yelling. Adil, barely conscious, reached for a metal rod lying nearby and struck him hard. The desert echoed with a single cry, then silence. Rico collapsed beside the fire, his knife falling from his hand. He looked at Myra one last time, his voice faint. I just wanted forever. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Drones circled above as officers rushed in. Myra fell to her knees, holding Adil as the lights surrounded them. 2 weeks later, newspapers across Dubai ran the headline, Filipina bride survives wedding nightmare. Obsessive ex dies in desert showdown. Myra never returned to her job. She and Adil quietly left Dubai for the Philippines, where no one knew their names. But some nights, when the wind howls across the Manila shore, Myra swears she still hears a voice in the distance whispering, You promised me forever.